Hey guys, and welcome back to Danganronpa, Trigger Happy Havoc. As always, I'm Team593, and the last time we started the trial, and I hate to have to cut the trial into pieces, but I can't do really long episodes, so there is one other possibility, right, Hina? Who took the knife from the kitchen?
Oh, yeah, that's true! One other person did come to the dining hall while we were there.
Thank you, Leon.
Why didn't you say so in the first place?
Could have saved us about 15 minutes.
Well, because they're not here anymore.
Junko? Or, wait, no, Sayaka? Someone who's not here, are you talking about?
Sayaka. She's the one who came to the dining hall. And then later, she wound up dead.
So she got the knife to use as self-defense, but she already... Yes, Perry has so many more questions because she already had the sword in my room, but she needed a knife to defend herself too? Okay, so the person who took the knife from the kitchen was... Sayaka.
I got it! Then, Sayaka is the one who took the knife?
That's the only possibility. And thinking back on it, she was acting kind of unusual. When she came into the dining hall, she didn't even look at us. She just went straight to the kitchen.
We even said, "Hey, Sayaka, how are you doing? It's your friends, Sakura and Hina. Would you like to join us for tea?" And she just kept going, like a bitch.
As she left, she said she just wanted a drink of water. But most likely,
she wanted a drink of knife.
And the person who took the knife was the victim herself.
I'm sure she just took it for self-defense.
So you're saying the knife she took was then taken from her, and she was killed with it? In that case, you may not have taken the knife, but you still could have killed her.
Right.
What?
See? He did do it after all!
No.
You're wrong!
So, that's how you would twist the argument and send us all off in the wrong direction?
Did I miss something?
You possess a most terrifying talent.
Damn, if I don't do something, they're gonna blame me for this murder. Don't they understand? If they convict me, everyone's gonna die.
It's still too early to decide conclusively that Makoto is the killer.
Thank you, Kyoko, for being the voice of reason.
Because you see, if the room did belong to the killer, then they did something most bewildering.
Yes, they broke down the bathroom door.
And until we unravel that little mystery, you simply can't declare that he's the killer.
Bewildering? What the hell are you talking about?
What does that word even mean?
Something was missing from the scene of the crime that by all rights should have been there. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
No, I don't think I do. Your first Hangman's Gambit is about to begin. Would you like to hear more? Sure. As things advance further in the class trial, the Hangman's Gambit will eventually take place. The point of this is to reveal an important phrase related to the incident in question. You'll have to deduce the phrase from the letters flying around and the letters already known. Complete the phrase by shooting down the flying letters in the right order. Use the mouse to aim and the left mouse button to shoot the desired letters. If you shoot down the wrong letters, you'll suffer damage to your influence gauge. If this gauge reaches 0, or if you run out of time, you fail. Well then, good luck and have fun. Something that should have been at the scene, but wasn't. That must be the crucial point. If we can just figure out what that something is Hangman's Gambit. Alright. Hair.
Now I understand!
I was confused for a second. I was like, what? What are you on about? Hair.
That's right! There wasn't a single hair on the floor!
So, the culprit removed some evidence?
Clearly.
Yes. And if I were the culprit, why would I need to get rid of all the hair in my own room?
Exactly.
It wouldn't be unusual at all to find my hair at the crime scene if the crime scene is in my room.
But to find no hair means that our killer's bald.
The reason all the hair was gone was to remove any trace that Sayaka had ever been there.
So who's wearing a wig?
That makes sense, does it not?
No. If that were the case, they would have had to do something about the body itself, not just her hair.
Yes, very true, very
So they
true.
clearly wanted to get rid of their hair because they were neither Sayako nor me.
Okay, then why wasn't there any hair on the ground?
The killer got rid of it all, of course, to remove any trace that they had ever been there.
Wait, then that means...
I'm innocent.
Precisely. It's simply beyond reason to believe that the room's owner and the killer are one and the same.
Thank you, Kyoko.
Makoto isn't the culprit?
Are
Exactly.
you sure we can decide something so important based solely on the absence of some hair?
No. There are other reasons that prove why Makoto couldn't have done it.
Like the fact that I knew about my bathroom door trick
would
and
like to
somebody
hear
tried to
these
bust down the door.
reasons.
Do you remember anything remarkable about the bathroom at the scene? Sayaka was attacked in the main room first, then fled into the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Then they ran after her,
Got into the bathroom and stabbed her.
stabbed her.
Well, if I did that, I could have just gotten into the room.
And how did the killer get into the bathroom? Did they have any trouble with it?
Yes.
What do you mean?
It's fairly certain that the killer had some trouble getting into the bathroom.
Just look at the doorknob.
There was clear evidence left behind. Do you remember, Makoto?
The killer struggled getting into the bathroom, and the evidence that proves it is the object the killer broke. I'd like to go around and joke about it and everything, but you know, I'm on a timer here, so.
I got it! Evidence that the killer had trouble getting into the bathroom. You're talking about the doorknob, right?
Precisely.
The doorknob? What doorknob?
The bathroom doorknob. Doorknob?
The doorknob for my bathroom. It was completely broken. See how the top part was unscrewed? And the doorknob's about ready to fall off?
Oh yeah, true. But what does it mean?
It means that they didn't know the trick about my
In
bathroom.
trying to bypass the lock, they ended up nearly removing the entire doorknob.
But the boys' bathrooms don't lock.
This is another most bewildering act for the room's owner. It proves Makoto is beyond suspicion.
Gosh, Kyoko, can we be best friends? I'm
So
gonna
what? You're saying
talk
he
to
wouldn't
you
break
from
the
now
door
on.
in his own room? But if the only choice you have is to break it, you break it. There's nothing bewildering about it.
Well, Leon, you gotta defend yourself,
You
huh?
still don't see? Okay then, let's take another look at how the incident unfolded. Hopefully that will help you understand.
Go Kyoko. Kyoko said it was a bewildering act. I almost didn't notice it at first, but is that the key point here? There's a bit more to learn about non-stop debates. Would you like to learn? Sure. From here on out, number of weak spots will start going up. But no matter how many weak spots, there's essentially only one lie or contradiction in that debate. What I'm trying to say is not all weak spots you see are necessarily false. Use the truth bullet on the wrong one, and not only will you fail to refute what they said, but you'll also lower your trust with everyone, and your influence gauge will take damage. Now, this is important because if your influence gauge reaches 0, you fail. You'll have to rely on your own logic and determine which weak spots are actually lies and contradictions. Well, then good luck and have fun. Okay. I'm going for a record here. I want to beat this in this episode. Because I know that these trials are supposed to
The
be really
incident
long.
took place in Makoto's room.
Uh-huh.
Sayaka was first attacked in the main room.
Right.
She then fled into the bathroom.
Yep.
Then the killer ran after her,
Sort of.
and they got into the bathroom.
Yeah, okay.
At that point, the killer had to try and bust down the door,
Okay.
because Sayaka had locked it.
That's a weak spot right there.
And finally, the culprit had Sayaka cornered.
And to finish the job, they stabbed her with the kitchen knife.
Sort of.
It was you, wasn't it, Makoto? Admit it.
No.
We already know the answer.
False. It's not because the door was locked. No, there was a different reason entirely.
Because Sayaka had locked it.
Right? Hey,
No, that's wrong.
that was a close one. I almost got the wrong answer.
The reason my bathroom didn't open wasn't because it was locked.
Because the
After
boys'
all,
bathrooms can't
the
lock.
girls' rooms are the only ones with locking bathrooms, right?
Yes, now that you mention it, that is true.
Then why didn't your bathroom door open?
Because of the
Because it was
jam.
stuck.
Huh? What are you talking about?
I'm just skipping through some of this stuff
My
because it's like,
bathroom
yeah,
door
yeah.
doesn't fit in the frame quite right. Monokuma over there can testify to that.
Yep.
Yep. True as true can be. But you know, you're supposed to be the ultimate lucky
Shut up.
student, right? But to have such a cruddy door, that's not lucky at all.
So the reason the door didn't open was just because it was stuck. But the killer didn't know that and assumed it was locked. So they tore apart the doorknob to get in.
But that doesn't make sense. Oh, yes, it does. I figured that part out now, too. Because the reason they would think that it was a girl's room is because the nameplates were switched.
Okay, but then why would the killer even think the door was locked in the first place?
Well, we're gonna get to that answer right now.
Everyone should have known you can't lock any of the boys' bathrooms.
The killer could easily make that mistake. thanks to one important detail about the scene of the crime.
The nameplates were switched. The killer was convinced that the bathroom door was locked, so they didn't know that the door actually couldn't be locked. In other words, the important detail about the scene of the crime that they didn't know is that it took place in my room.
Got it! The killer must not have realized that it was my room.
What? Are you saying the culprit
Is it
didn't even know
literate?
where he was? That's inconceivable.
And yet,
Not quite.
he's absolutely right.
Say what?
I didn't know I was there. I mean, what?
Well, to be more specific, what the killer didn't know was that Makoto and Sayaka had switched rooms.
Yes.
Which is what led to the misunderstanding about the bathroom. If Sayaka had been in her own room, then
Then there would have been a lock on the door, and they would have had to break through.
So they had no idea how unnecessary their actions were.
ultimately, we can't know if it came open by force or simply by accident.
But because a tool was used, we know it's a guy who was the killer.
The killer must have been considerably confused, with no idea how they actually got the door opened.
Regardless, it was a pointless act. Wasting time trying to break down a door that wasn't locked is
Ludicrous.
Definitely something I wouldn't do, since I would have known exactly why it wasn't opening, right?
That is a definite possibility.
Oh, Byakuya, fuck you.
So the killer would have to be someone who didn't know they'd switched rooms?
Which was everybody.
Makoto couldn't have done it.
Thank you, Toko. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Okay, then who did do it?
Leon.
I'm sorry, but I give up. Quit without saving.
Ha 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 ha.
What happens if we can't decide on who we think did it?
Well, why don't we just vote right now? Majority rules.
That's not a good idea, because nobody can agree on who's done it, and therefore we're gonna die.
Majority rules? You really think that's a good idea?
Yeah, our necks are on the line here. Someone seriously needs to do something.
For serious.
For serious.
Does no one have any other thoughts or questions? It does not matter how trivial they may seem.
I mean,
Oh, as a matter of fact,
thank you,
I
Hina.
do have one question.
What is your question?
Oh, you.
Wow, Celeste,
You don't
fuck
gotta
you.
sound so disappointed.
Oh man.
It's fine, it's fine. Just ask your question.
What is
Oh,
the
yeah.
question?
Okay, so,
Were you two like banging?
well, I was just wondering, how did the culprit get into Makoto's room in the first place?
Yes.
Yeah, that's an interesting
How
one.
did the killer get inside?
Maybe Sayaka just dropped the key somewhere and the culprit picked it up. That's possible, right?
No,
I don't think so. That seems way too
the
convenient.
key was already in the room.
Then
So how
maybe someone picked the lock?
Monokuma said that's impossible.
Negative! If you remember, Monokuma made it quite clear that the locks are all unpickable.
Fine. How about this? The killer got in the easy way. They could have knocked and said they wanted to talk or something, and Miss Maizono just let him in.
Well, she was freaked out, so she probably
No.
wouldn't have done that.
That can't be it either.
Oh, trying to argue against me? Sounds like someone doesn't know his place.
If we know your place, you're a low-life piece of shit who draws fanfic for a living. Go fuck yourself.
Hello? Why exactly can't that be it?
Because you're a moron. Because she asked me to do something in particular because of how frightened she was. That the answer's right there. There's no way Sayaka let it in because... what? There's no way Sayaka let someone in because...
I got it!
Switching rooms?
Because Sayaka was already scared, remember? That's why she asked me to switch rooms in the first place.
The same goes for you, Sayaka. No matter who it is, don't open your door for anyone. Even if I'm sure it's you, I absolutely won't open it. Otherwise, what's the point of even switching?
Knowing what
So-
she'd been through,
What the fuck?
I just can't believe she would have opened the door for anyone.
That's a mystery
What
there.
if her being scared was a lie?
Well, that's an interesting twist on it.
Huh? Well, what
She
the
could
hell
have
is
been
that
playing it the whole
supposed to
time.
mean?
Yeah. Oh,
Why would she lie
okay.
about something like that?
Okay. Okay.
I know
see
you
what
don't
you're
want to
getting at,
consider it.
Kyoko.
But look at this and tell me. Can you still deny the possibility?
What am I looking at? Come see me in my room. Check the nameplate to make sure you don't get the wrong room, okay, Sayaka? Ooh, there's something I want to talk to you about. Just 2 and 5 minutes. Come see me in my room. Check the nameplates to make sure you don't get the wrong room, okay?
I found a notepad during my search, and I shaded in the top sheet with a pencil.
It's that sort of shading that people know about.
And these are the words that appeared.
Crime scenes and everything.
Oh man! I've totally seen people do that on detective shows.
Right?
When you write, it can leave an imprint. Sketch over the next sheet of paper, and you can see the words.
Yep.
When I saw that, I was like, holy crap! I better make sure I rip the paper out before I use it from now on.
It's a pretty old-fashioned technique, but even the classics can be surprisingly useful sometimes.
Kyoko, are you like the ultimate best friend?
Oh, and I should also mention, I found the notepad on the desk in Makoto's room. Which means only someone who had been in Makoto's room before the incident could have written it.
Then either it was Makoto who lived there, or Sayaka who switched rooms for a single night.
Very
so,
clever.
Makoto, did you write this?
No.
No, I didn't. But
he's not gonna want to believe that Sayaka did either.
Of course you didn't. Because the note also bears a perfectly legible signature.
Sayaka's signature. Then that note, Sayaka wrote it?
But why? Why would she write that?
The note was
She was
likely
gonna lure
her
someone
way
in.
of getting in touch with a certain someone. She must have slid it under their door to let them know she wanted to meet with them in secret.
If you got an invitation like that from the ultimate pop sensation, what young man could resist?
Oh my god. So she did feel threatened by Leon's fucking, I want to be a singer.
Of course, I'm only into 2D, so it wouldn't have any effect on me.
Right.
But can we be sure anyone even got this note? And honestly, even if they did, I do not think they are at all involved in what happened.
Bullshit.
Huh? What makes you say that?
Would you like to hear what I have to say?
Not really.
Very well then. Pay attention.
Well, we're zooming on Celeste. Celeste has something she wants to get off her chest. What's your argument, Celeste? Dumb nameplates, got it.
Sayaka and Makoto switched rooms, correct?
Makoto?
But in the note, the place they were asked to come to, it specifically says, my room.
Right.
I see. So if someone read that note, then they would have gone to Sayaka's room.
Which is where I was.
Exactly. The room that Makoto was staying in. So in other words, even if someone did read the note and did what it said, they would not have any connection to what happened.
Wait.
It certainly would
Oh
seem
man, I'm
that
not sure
way.
which one it is. The killer went to my room instead of Sayaka's, and the reason for that is... Well, yeah, it's because its nameplates got switched, but where it's
Sayaka and Makoto.
Then they would have gone to
not this
Sayaka's
next
room.
one, this next one.
Exactly. The room with
Makoto.
No, that's wrong.
I've got 100% record so far.
The nameplates on my and Sayaka's rooms got switched.
By her?
They got switched?
She had this all planned out.
That's right. The
Other than
nameplates got
her
switched,
dying.
just like the rooms themselves.
That bitch.
As a result, the nameplate on Sayaka's room actually had Makoto's name. And the nameplate on Makoto's room had Sayaka's.
But I'm still not sure why.
So what you're saying is, the room Sayaka was staying in was actually marked as her room.
Then, if someone did do what the note said, they would end up at Makoto's room where Sayaka was.
Plus, their rooms are right next to each other. So switching the nameplates would be no problem. And the
Yeah.
one who switched the names was... Well, of course it wasn't you, right, Makoto?
No, it wasn't me.
Right?
Okay, then who did it?
There's only one person who could have switched the nameplates. The only other person who knew we had switched rooms.
I got it!
It was
Me and
Sayaka.
Sayaka were the only ones who ever knew about us switching rooms. So the only other person besides me who would even know to switch the nameplates was Sayaka.
You can also infer as much from her note.
Right. She made sure. Yeah. Check the nameplates to make sure you don't get the wrong room. Why would anybody even put that?
She specifically tells the reader to check the nameplate. She would only have written that if she knew the nameplates had been switched.
But why would she switch them in the first place?
She wanted someone to come to the room she was in, and also hide the fact that it was Makoto's room.
So she could kill Leon and then frame me for that fucking bitch?
What?
Inviting someone to your room, but not telling them you'd switched rooms. Why would anyone do that?
Oh my god,
To
I put it
understand
together.
that, we first need to understand what happened after she invited the person into the room. That's where the answer lies.
Okay.
What happened then was probably whoever she invited over came in and attacked her. We figured it out! We know who did it! Whoever she invited over is the culprit!
No, she tried to kill. Well, you're literally between the two dead people there, Taka. I just now noticed that. That kind of sucks for you, bud. Kind of makes you look like the culprit, but you're not.
But we still don't know who it is, you goddamn idiot!
Sayaka fought with her killer there in the room, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps the answer to our previous question lies in that initial struggle.
Yes, I think you're right.
Then... we just have to figure out what happened during the fight, right?
Kind of.
That reminds me. There was a replica sword at the murder scene. Was that perhaps used during the fight?
Yes,
yeah.
but
What's the deal with that sword?
Sayaka suggested I should hold on to it. I thought it might come in handy if I had to defend myself.
Yeah.
It seems pretty likely that the killer used it to break Sayaka's right wrist.
Yes.
How the hell could you possibly know that's what broke her wrist?
Because it's not a sharp sword. The reason I know Sayaka's wrist was broken with the fake sword is because of the gold leafing on her wrist. When you look at her wrist, there's no doubt. Sayaka's wrist?
I got it! All you have to do is take a good look at her broken wrist, and it should become pretty clear. Right there where her wrist is all swollen. There's something glittery there. See?
Is that gold?
Gold.
It sure is. Specifically, the gold coating from the replica sword.
It comes off so easily.
You barely have to touch that stuff, and it'll stick right to you.
It's like fucking glitter.
And there's some on her wrist because...
I got it! Because she got hit with the sword! Right there on her wrist!
Exactly.
I see. And so the truth draws ever closer.
All right, then it's about time to solve this mystery.
But we still don't know who. I mean, other than me, who knows it's Leon, and also Kyoko, who knows it's Leon. What happened in my room, and what led to Sayaka's death? That's what we need to make clear. There's a bit more to learn about non-stop debates. Would you like to learn? God damn it. Are you getting used to these non-stop debates? Starting with the next debate, I'll start loading multiple truth bullets into your truth cylinder, but just like with the weak spots, only one of those bullets can actually refute the proper statement. In other words, from here on out, you'll have to combine the right truth bullets with the right weak spots to refute each statement. If you come up with the wrong combination, you'll take damage to your influence gauge. You can press the Q key to rotate the cylinder and choose which bullet to fire. Press and release the Q key to cycle through each bullet, or you can use the mouse wheel. By the way, if the logic difficulty is set to kind, fewer bullets will be loaded into the cylinder. For our purposes, this time the logic difficulty will be set to mean. Well then, good luck and have fun. Okay. Sword or replica sheath, because it's not going to do the kitchen knife set again.
When the fighting broke out, the culprit grabbed the sword, and that's when the first blow was dealt. The sword-based sneak attack.
And that's what broke Miss Mizono's wrist.
So, she tried to fight back. She grabbed the kitchen knife she had hidden away. But then the culprit took that from her too.
And they killed her with it.
And that's exactly what happened.
No. The person with the sword really did attack first. There's no explanation for how a certain part of the sword got damaged, the sheath.
The sword-based sneak attack.
I don't think so.
No, that's wrong.
Oof. Doing good.
Actually, no. I don't think the fight started with the sword.
Why not?
Because the sword's sheath had been scratched. See? There's a gash in it. Like someone cut into it with something sharp.
Something sharp? You mean like the kitchen knife? That was the only sharp thing found at the scene.
Okay. And because Sayaka had taken the kitchen knife, she attacked Leon, yes.
Stop jumping ahead. Slow down and explain it so I get what the hell's going on.
Poor
If the sword was used first, there wouldn't be any explanation for the scratch on the sheath.
And Leon just grabbed the sheath to defend himself.
If you were going to attack with the sword, you'd take it out of the sheath first, right?
But if you're defending from a knife...
That's true. With the sheath on, it'd be heavy and bulky and useless as shit.
Okay, so how did the sheath get damaged?
The knife.
If they got attacked with the kitchen knife, maybe they grabbed the sword as a defensive impulse.
Exactly.
In that situation, there wouldn't be any time to actually unsheath the sword.
Correct.
So you're saying the sword was initially used to defend against an attack from the knife.
Which means whoever had the kitchen knife was the one who attacked first.
I think I get it. So here's how it all played out.
Nope.
The culprit came in, found the kitchen knife hidden there somewhere. Then they took the knife and attacked Sayaka before she knew what was happening. So she grabbed the sword to defend herself. But then the culprit took that from her too.
Man, Sayaka is being billed as just a fucking worthless human being who can't do a goddamn thing for herself,
Then,
huh?
after they broke her wrist with the sword, they took the knife and finished it.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, but I don't think Sayaka used the sword to defend herself.
I think the killer used the sword to defend himself.
How the hell can you not think that?
Because she never held the sword at all. There's a certain part of her body that makes this clear.
The part of her body that shows she never used the sword is her hand. If you wanted to use the sword, which part of your body would you have to touch? Her palms.
I got it! You're talking about her palms, right? The palms of her hands were perfectly clean. So I don't think she ever picked up the sword.
How can you know that just by looking at her palms?
Because
like I said
gets the
before,
gold coating.
The gold coating on that sword comes right off. All you have to do is touch it. In fact, if you look, you'll notice that a lot of the gold has already come off the handle. It's safe to assume that's because whoever used the sword got some of it on their hands.
Oy, oy, oy.
There's really no way
So
she could
everybody
have
show us
picked
your
it up
hands.
and come away completely clean.
Maybe she washed her hands after she escaped into the bathroom.
Yeah, it makes total
Sorry,
sense.
but I don't think so.
Why do you say that? Is it because you think I'm ugly?
No, but I am starting to think you're stupid.
No, that's not it at all.
Hoko. There's no way Sayaka washed the gold coating off her hands because the water's off at night.
I got it! According to the Monokuma file, Sayaka's time of death was around 1:30 a.m. In other words, at nighttime. And the water in the bathroom shuts off at nighttime.
Oh man, we're good.
Right?
Oh, I didn't know that. Actually, I haven't taken a shower here yet.
Oh, is that what reeks?
Oh my.
You're no different. You smell like a big fat ugly donkey.
I'm not sure whether to take that as an insult or a compliment.
Definitely an insult, dude.
obviously.
So anyway, if Sayaka never touched the sword, then that means the killer is the only one who used the sword.
Exactly.
But hold on. If that's right, then the one who damaged the sheath with the kitchen knife was...
Sayaka, oh my god, why do we have to fucking go through this every goddamn second? We figured it out, come on.
She had the kitchen knife?
Yes!
But we already said that the attack started with...
The kitchen
The
knife.
person with the knife attacked first, and the sword was used as an impromptu defense.
Which means that Sayaka was trying to kill
The one
them.
who attacked first was...
Sayaka?
Now do you understand? She wasn't a blameless victim in
That
this.
fucking bitch. She was trying to use
No,
me.
far from it. It's almost as if she'd been planning to commit a murder of her own.
And frame me for it.
She took the knife from the kitchen, then invited the culprit to the room she was staying in. And if it's true that she had the kitchen knife and attacked without provocation...
Indeed. These are all the actions of an assailant.
Which brings up another point. Makoto, Sayaka was the one who suggested you two switch rooms, correct?
Yeah.
Maybe the reason she wanted to switch rooms was so that she could pin the crime on you. That is a possibility, is it not?
It most certainly is.
Sayaka wanted to... on me?
Uh-huh.
That would also explain why she would switch the nameplates. She wanted to get whoever she had targeted to come to Makoto's room where she was staying. And by committing the murder there, instead of her room, that would implicate Makoto. But for that to work, the target had to be lured out while still keeping the room swap a secret. If the target knew she had switched rooms, they would have become suspicious right away.
And Celeste, you know a lot about
that's
this.
why she switched the names?
But doesn't that plan seem a little risky? For one thing, even if her plan worked, Mr. Naegi would just tell everyone they'd switched rooms.
But she would just deny it.
I don't know. I'm not sure our soft-hearted Makoto is capable of that kind of cutthroat behavior. I'm sure Sayaka realized the same thing, which is why out of all of us, she asked him to switch rooms.
Oh, yeah. That's all the time for today, guys. We'll finish off this next time. I tried so hard, but we couldn't quite get it. So, next time.